Welcome back, friends. In this particular session, now we will try to understand keyword analysis. That is to finding out the linguistic signals that matter the most in courtroom proceedings while establishing the evidence. I welcome you in this session and let's find out what stands out in the ocean of words, keywords. Keywords play a very important role while analyzing any script, any text, any statement. Today we take the first major analytical step inside your corpus, that is keyword analysis. If corpus building is about gathering meaningful text, the keyword analysis is about discovering what makes a text unique one. Every writer, every suspect, every victim, every threatening message has a linguistic habit that stands out. For example, consider this statement, a statement given by the accused person or a witness. Then I went there, then I saw, then I start recording with my phone, then I left. All these four statements. If you see, the word then is repeated quite often. In fact, every statement, every sentence begins with the word then. So this word then is repeated transitional keyword. Before every action, the word then is used. So today our goal is to learn how to detect those signals, how meaningfully pick those keywords. These keywords are not simply just important words or just like a marker of a statement. They are statistically significant patterns that reveal identity, motive, emotion, and also behavior. Natural human memory does not recall events in perfectly ordered or repeated connectors. Now let's find out what are these keywords in forensic linguistics. Friends, keywords are words that appear unusually and frequently in one text compared to reference corpus. They provide insight into speaker's psychological state, emotional patterns, dialect, intentions, and authorship profile. Where a person repeatedly uses unusual collocations like mark my words, I'm telling you the straight, listen carefully, look, these kind of things, these kind of phrases are more often used by the speaker. And therefore these become linguistic signature, a unique signature of that person. These keywords are nothing but these are the signatures that captures the person's ability to write or speak mathematically. When I use the word mathematically, let me give an example. A very famous case of Surinder Kohli versus CBI, in which multiple times his confession was recorded. And if you just set parameter whether that confession is tutored or not, when you take the set of that particular statements that he has given, the word Hanji appeared 44 times. Now, if a person is not giving much information but rather responding or assenting to what the next person has asked simply by saying yes or Hanji 44 times, that means technically he is not speaking something from his own. He is simply assenting to what he has been asked, and therefore that might signal a higher level of tutoredness. This is just an observation. If you just find out this statement, you may have this experience for your own analysis or insights. Now let's find out reference corpora, how we can compare the text fairly. Friends, to identify the keyword, we compare our forensic text with baseline dataset. This baseline could be what it could be: a general language corpus like BNC, a British National Corpus, or COCA, Corpus of Contemporary American English, or a corpus of similar genre such as WhatsApp chats, emails, or a corpus from same individual if doing comparative authorship. The key principle is fairness. You cannot evaluate a suicidal note using a corpus of academic writing, because in a notion of suicide, a person would not write or speak in a way that he might write otherwise. Here you can relate this particular thing with one of the fundamental principles of the forensic science, the principle of comparison. Only similar things can be compared with each other. For example, a human blood can only be compared with a specimen of human blood. You cannot compare it with the animal blood sample. It's just that way. Now let's understand how keyword tools work. Let's have a quick guided tour. Here, the tools like AdConc, Lanxbox, or Wordsmith, they generate keyword list by calculating which words appear significantly more in your text than your reference dataset. The software highlights them with statistical measures such as log likelihood or p-values, but numbers are just the beginning. So here you can think of these tools as a highlighters. They do not decide the meaning, but they simply tell you this word appears much more often here than it normally does in everyday language. That's it. So here, interpretation is the heart of forensic linguistics. Now we are slightly focusing towards interpretation of keywords, how to interpret them, and what is the story behind the numbers. Let's have example of keywords that reveal psychological patterns of the person. Let's have 3 examples. Example number 1, suicidal notes. Now a suicidal note may contain overuse of relational terms such as sorry, I regret, love, forgive, blame. These are some peculiar or very much unique kind of words that you may find in suicidal notes. Second example, a ransom letter. It may contain overuse of imperative verbs like bring, do not call, follow, obey, do not waste time, these kind of words. Example number 3, a deceptive statement. Here you may find overuse of intensifiers like honestly, truly, believe me, to be frank, these kind of words. So friends, keywords are the clusters that show thematic dominance. They reveal what matters most to the writer. Is it a fear, anger, revenge, guilt, desperation, or confusion? Interpretation converts raw data into behavioral insight. Now let's take some case-based examples so that you can understand the analogy. Let's understand keyword clusters in threat and extortion cases. Now we are focusing on a very particular type of cases. We know in a threatened case, threateners will be there, and they often rely on predictable keyword patterns. For example, since you are asking for a ransom or threat or extortion, you might be in urgency, you want to show your power, you want to show, if not followed what you have said, there may be consequences, there may be aftermaths. So let's have analogy of these 3 patterns. Firstly, urgency. Such statement may use, or you may find the use of words like immediately, tonight, instantly, or secondly, if you want to find out the power pattern in that particular statement, you may come across the phrases like you will see, I control, I decide, these kind of phrases. Or in case of punishment, or if you want to show how the consequences would follow if not done what has been said. Consequences, the words like see the consequences, you will see, you will pay the price, end everything. these kind of phrases that you may come across. So the presence, repetition, or escalation of these keywords help the investigator map the intention and the risk that is involved. Keywords also assist in linking multiple anonymous threads to the same author. This is quite common. Friends, now we have a look in a real case that came before the court. It's a landmark example how keyword evidence can be brought to the court. Let's talk about a very famous Unabomber case that happened in America in the span of 17 years, ranging from 1978 till 1995. The letters were sent. Now, in these linguistic patterns, notably, repeated phrases were used, ideological keywords were there, and that is why they become crucial to link the criminal intent of Ted Kaczynski that manifest into other letters. Although not strictly keyword analysis in the modern computational sense, the principle was identical, similar, unusual, and recurring vocabulary provided the authorship cues. Today, software makes this process more precise, more convenient, and statistically defensible. Now let's take analysis of WhatsApp threads in a stalking investigation. In an anonymized case, a stalker's message contained recurring keywords: watching, everywhere, mine, waiting. Now in this, when compared with the suspect's everyday chats, the corpus revealed the same obsessive lexical choices. Even though the suspect denied sending the threads, these keywords tend overlapping again and again across datasets, establishing a strong linguistic marker and an alignment. So this alignment becomes crucial in the court. Now friends, we also have to find out the other side of the coin. That is when these keywords can mislead, contextual errors and overinterpretation may be fatal to the case. Let's understand how. See friends, not every keyword carries the forensic value. We must remember that. Sometimes a keyword appears because the text is short. Sometimes it reflects the topic and not the intent. I mean, in a common ransom case, in a ransom note, the word money is quite obvious. You would find the word money or some kind of consideration very common. But that is not the very specific forensic kind of help. Because since it's a ransom note, the word money would be there. So you have to shift your focus from other markers that you might not have come across easily. So linguistics must filter out the noise and go for forensic keyword to analyze the balancing statistics with linguistic reality. Let's have a look on the keyword analysis in a hate speech and defamation cases. Now, since these crimes are more of language-based crimes, here you can only come across to the intention of the person through the use of words that he has done. In a hate speech cases, the keyword analysis help the court evaluate whether a speaker consistently uses derogatory terms or whether a phrase was misinterpreted. It also helps distinguish cultural expressions from genuine harassment. In a defamation cases, keywords reveal whether allegations were repeatedly used, claims, opinions, or rhetorical exaggerations. These nuances matter in legal interpretation. Now here comes the crux. In a case of defamation, we have multiple exceptions. A word prima facie or on the face of record might appear derogatory, defamatory. But if you just see the exceptions, for example, truth. If it's a truth, it may bring forward in a brutal way, in a brutally honest way. So as an investigator, you have to understand whether the defamation is there or a person is simply showing the truth in a very crude form of usage of words. That is very important. Let's take some other perspectives, for example, suspects or victims. How keyword profile can help in understanding their nuances. Let's understand, for example, a keyword profile that captures multiple types of shades. For example, first is recurring vocabulary, again and again. As we have seen in the beginning of this session, the word then, it appeared multiple times. Then I arrived, then I spoke, then I left. Everywhere the sentence starts with the word then. Or secondly, the emotional tone. Consider this statement. Nothing serious happened, everything was normal. So here that emotional assurance is given by the maker of this sentence. Thirdly, domain specific terms. Consider this statement. The accused was apprehended and the material was disposed of. This is a procedural norm. So sentence has carried the procedural regularities that may be observed in a case. Or you can consider self-referential habits. Consider this statement. I did it, I planned it, I took the responsibility. So here everywhere the sentence contains with the word I. A heavy self-reliance, self-dominance is shown. Or you can consider the preferred sentence construction in a very particular way. Consider this statement. The object was removed and the area was exited or cleaned. Now if you see, this is a formal narration. It has a passive voice. The person has avoided active voice construction. So you can check these kind of patterns as well. Such profile assists in authorship disputes, missing person cases, threat linking, and psychological profiling. They show how individuals express fear, guilt, dominance, or manipulation. Now let's understand how keyword pattern strengthens the investigative reasoning. Keywords help them confirming or ruling out connections between the text. It's more like reading between the lines. They help locate deception, assess the escalation, build psychological maps, and validate the investigative hypothesis, because every investigation starts with some hypothesis. Keyword analysis serves as a gateway to more advanced methods, such as concordance, collocation, and dispersion plotting. Friends, you must understand that the language you don't notice often speaks the loudest, and therefore every minor detail matters. Even a punctuation mark also matters. So in this session, we have analyzed how keyword analysis can help strengthening the investigation and enrich your corpus data. Thank you for paying attention in this session and engaging deeply. Keyword analysis is one of the most intuitive, powerful, and revealing tools in forensic linguistics. It teaches us to look beyond the individual sentences and observe the habits, pattern, and psychological residue. Here your role is more like an observer than an active participant. By observing the keywords, you may find something that other observers or other investigator might not come across by heavy reliance on the physical evidence. And therefore, if you master this technique, definitely you will find something more substantial in your skill building in the forensic linguistics. In the next video, we will explore concordance analysis, the technique that lets you listen to the heartbeat of language, one line at a time. Thank you very much.